What is your American dream?
My American dream is we all get along and love each other.
My American dream is for my grandchildren to
and the strong, caring people that we are.
My American dream is no poverty, that young black men shouldn't get shot.
My American dream is that we can be a wonderful, colorful, diverse America, that we just all love each other and accept each other as we are.
My American dream is that every single American, every single person on earth is treated with the same respect and dignity afforded to everybody. Every single human on this planet should be treated with love and compassion.
We continue to aspire to what I think we can be as a country, which is what the Statue of Liberty says we are. It's just a welcoming country that's a democracy.
My American dream is a nation of immigrants that loves each other without any barriers of color, race, or class.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. Bernstein, I'm going to be answering your immigration questions, but before I do that, let me say hello to Yonathan, Yo-Yo, Elias, and Vanessa. Ness-quick, is my mic on? It is on. My mic is on. And Vanessa, Ness-quick, Contreras. Does everybody hear me?
Now we do.
Yeah.
At first we didn't.
At first you did not hear me, but now you do hear me. It is magic. What's happening, guys?
Good.
Almost the weekend.
Almost the weekend. Almost. Now weekends are weekends are not as
Right.
good. Weekends are not as good in 2020 as they were in 2019, right?
No.
No, I mean, weren't weekends?
It still sounds nice.
Yeah, I mean, you know, pick your worst weekend in 2019. Think about, what was my worst weekend in 2019? It was better than any weekend in 2020.
Absolutely.
Right?
For sure.
For sure.
Probably had more options on all those weekends.
That's right. That's why it was better. I mean, you don't really have a lot of options right now. Although I'm told at the end of the month you could actually eat indoors in New York. 25%.
I saw that today.
Yes.
September 30th?
Yes, September 30th. 25% of the, you can fill up 25% of the restaurant. Poor restaurateurs. I mean, if you own a restaurant, I mean, you're generally, for most restaurants, your profit margins are so small. You know, how much can you make after you cook a chicken and serve it and pay New York City taxes and employees and everything else? I mean, how much can you charge for the freaking chicken? You gotta get like a lot of people to come eat your chicken.
True.
And it's only like, okay, well now I can only serve 25% of my chicken. I mean, I feel bad for the people who own restaurants. It's very, very tough for them right now. And the waiters, obviously, because they live on tips and gratuities, and bartenders who can't even serve a drink right now. And restaurants in New York, at least in New York City, you can't even sit down to have a drink unless you order some food, because then the restaurant gets in trouble. You know, like, have you gone out in New York City and like, you know what? Let me have a glass of wine and, give me the menu and I'll decide what I'm gonna. No, sir. You have to order food first, and then we'll think about serving you alcohol. I'm like, what?
It's either that or they'll give you like a hot dog or like a little slice of pizza.
Right, exactly. I don't want your hot dog.
I feel bad because
right.
I like waste because I don't eat it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Or even
right?
wait times now. Imagine if they can only have 25% capacity, like even to wait to be the next person. You don't even just take out. At that point, I'm just taking.
You're taking it out, right? You're going to be eating in the Ness-quick dining room somewhere in your apartment. Right. All right. Let's say hello. Let's say hello to the squad. Jessica Levy, Joelle Reed, squad up. Joan Grant, squad up. Tamika Nelson. Have we seen Tamika recently? I don't know where she's been. Lisa Bling Rose, squad up. Sandra Charles is watching. We see you. Who else we got here? Elizabeth Francis, squad up. Lorna Nell Patton. Jacqueline Brown, squad up. Moya Douglas, how are you? Lucy Mugala, squad up. And Marcella McCullough, Wendy Cato, squad up. Clifford Gordon, he has been a Iron Man lately, Clifford Gordon. I think he's watched 6 straight months now. I don't think he misses a show anymore. Tracy Haynes, squad up, how are you? Ma Dukes, Danish Danny, how are you? I haven't seen Danish Danny in a while. And Mishka Bennett saying good evening. Let's check over what is going on YouTube. What was that? Whoa. That's the Martians from area, whatever that area is, area 52, 59. What's the area in Utah? I forgot. K, God bless. Squad up 51. There is no Martians in 52. They're all in 51. Elizabeth Darby, squad up. Jeremy Goldberg, how are you? Is it Poetry Thursday already, Jeremy? Poetry Thursday. It is. In New York, it's rainy, but Brad is still brainy. He'll answer your query, so never get weary. Jeremy, that's beautiful, Jeremy. That was beautiful. That was really, really beautiful. That was some real... Jeremy, that is...
That's the tone for the show, Brad.
That was some real good poetry there, Jeremy. Right? That was. Usually his poetry we don't know about, but today's poetry...
He's spot on.
Spot on, right?
Yeah.
Two thumbs up. 2 thumbs up for Jeremy, right? What do you do? Right? All thumbs up. Yeah. Do you want me to read that one more time? In New York, it's rainy, but Brad is still Brady. He'll answer your query, so never get weary. All right. Naja Danajar says, please get my question. Oh, my God. She's demanding the answer right now. Let's see what it says. It says, hi, my dad will be a citizen in 2 years. He's going to petition for my widowed sister and her 3 kids soon, which usually takes 5+ years. Once my dad gets his citizenship, will that make the process faster? Yeah, by about a year. But start right now. Start right now. The fastest way to get him here is get that application in. KD Cole, squad up. Tia Prasad, squad up. And Jeremy Goldberg with I am so glad. Thank you, Brad. And with another poem. With a second poem. All right. Yo, and Ness-quick, why don't you tell everybody what they need to do while I get ready for some schmoozing?
All right, everybody on all social media platforms. So that means Facebook, that means YouTube, that means Instagram, that means Twitter, Periscope, whatever you guys are watching on. I need you guys all to join the Facebook VIP fan page. All right, it is on Facebook. All you have to do is join the Brad Squad. Just put the Brad Squad, and you will become a VIP member. The best thing that comes with being a VIP member is that you're able to put in your question anytime throughout the day, and we will ask the first 5 questions before any social media check-in. All right, so now sharing is caring. Everybody on Facebook, I need you guys to share, all right? This is Thursday, Poetry Thursdays. Share for Jeremy and his amazing abilities with words. So make sure you guys share, though. Like, seriously, all you have to do is click that little arrow that says share. It's pointing to the right. All you have to do now is share it to anyone's page. You could share it to individuals. You could share it in an inbox. So privately, you could copy the link and send it in a text message blast. I need you guys to do this. This is one of the most important times to do this because everybody needs help. There are bans out there. We don't know what to do with different laws coming out. It's a lot of people that are nervous with traveling. I need you guys to help these people out. All right, this is we're all doing good. All right, for our community, immigrants. We're all in one big community, okay? So make sure you guys please help by sharing. All right, now also put in all your comments in the comment section because we are going to be answering questions after a couple segments. All right, so this is the best time to do it because we won't get to every single one. All right, and of course, we love for you guys to interact. Please like, love, smiley face, sad face, wild face, mad face, whatever you're feeling. You can also hit us up at us in the comment section. Talk to us. We'll talk right back. You know, this is what we're here for. It's all interactive, and we, like I said, we're a big community, so make sure let's all interact with each other. Now, Ness-quick, let us know what we're going to do on YouTube.
On YouTube, friends, you should already be subscribed to our channel. Make sure that you turn on that notification bell so you know when Brad's show is live Monday through Friday. And of course, we want to see all of your questions in the comments, so please toss those in there. But most importantly, right below, you're going to see an arrow that will say share. Okay, you can share it in a text message, copy the link, and share it to a WhatsApp group. Let your family and friends know that Brad's show is live and that he will be answering immigration questions later on in the show. You never know when there's a question being asked that someone out there might need help with. So just by simply sharing the show, you already know all the value and knowledge and great information that Brad shares with us for free. You never know who you'll help, and it'll only help build our squad and make us bigger and stronger. Of course, on YouTube, I'm going to need to see those thumbs up. You guys have no idea how much that thumbs up helps us so much. It just lets YouTube know that there are great things happening here, and it really helps us build our engagement and spread the word for Brad Show Live. We're also on Instagram at Brad Show Live, so make sure that you follow us there, where we will also be checking our direct messages for questions. So many different places for you guys to drop your questions for social media check-in. Every now and again on Instagram, you'll catch the best snippets of our show if you aren't able to catch a full show. And of course, every now and again, you'll catch a contest on there. But without further ado, let's get to schmoozing with Brad.
All right. Today, Ness-quick and Yo-Yo, is World Suicide Prevention Awareness Day. Now, World Suicide Prevention Day is organized by the International Association for Suicide Prevention, and the World Health Organization is the co-sponsor. The purpose of this day is obviously to raise awareness around the globe that suicide actually can be prevented. Suicide rates have been increasing gradually to the extent that it has become one of the major causes of death around the world. According to the World Health Organization, we lose about 800,000 people to suicide every year. That is roughly 2,200 people commit suicide every day. It is now recognized as a public health issue in almost every country. The major steps toward preventing suicide: we have to identify the problem, understand the risk factors, and figure out what works in individual societies. Now, an early recognition of the warning signs and seeking professional assistance can help save lives. If you notice any behavioral changes in your loved ones, you should talk to them. Be a good listener to reduce their stress and tension. Today is a good day to be mindful of how you treat people despite how happy they seem. Now, in the past years, over 300 activities in around 70 countries were reported to the International Association for the Prevention of Suicide, including educational and commemorative events, press briefings, and conferences with Facebook and Twitter coverage. But because we're dealing with a pandemic and it is harder to do face-to-face meetups these days, many took to Twitter using hashtag World Suicide Prevention Day to share thoughts on the day and offer words of support to others. Joe Biden used the hashtag, tweeting, "To everyone struggling right now, I want you to know you are not alone. You're seen, you're heard, and you're loved." And, you know, I will tell you, Yo-Yo and Ness-quick, years ago when I had a bad day, I never wanted to commit suicide ever in my entire life. It never went through my mind. But sometimes I'd come home, you know, you have a bad day, you're like, you know, you tell someone, "How's your day?" "You know what? I'm going to jump out a window. I'm going to, you know," and I would make a joke of it. But it's not, you know, as I've gotten older, more mature, wiser, grayer, I've realized it's not something to be joking about, because people come home and really feel that at the end of the day. I just saw the statistics, 2,200 people. I don't make that joke anymore.
Right, right.
Yeah.
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 So
there's a lot of things that we say that we should really be very careful.
And and it's a little bit also about, understanding the footsteps of how other people are. A lot of people who attempt to commit suicide but don't actually go through it, those are all cries for help. And a lot of times we just have to recognize sometimes that people need a little just to listen to and say, I understand what you're feeling. I understand how you're feeling. I can't make it better, but I feel for you and I understand for you. And by the way, if we had more people in this world who did that, just, because so many people just want to know, do you understand how I feel? And it just makes people feel better that somebody understands how they feel. You may not be, they may not agree with you. You know what? I may disagree with how you feel. I may disagree with why you feel that way. I don't think you should be as depressed as you are. Things aren't as bad, blah, 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 blah. But sometimes people just need to hear, I understand. I understand.
Yeah. Well, what I would like, a lot of people to realize, especially, I would say, people of different cultures, because I know there are a lot of people that say, it's a sin to commit suicide, or, it's very selfish to commit suicide. But, sometimes you have to understand it's also a chemical imbalance. So when you're feeling some type of way, it's like you can't even control how your mind is thinking. So when you think that the world will be better without me in it, I will be helping people because I don't want to be a burden on people. This is something like they're not thinking in their right mind. So people have to understand that it's not a selfish act when it's a chemical imbalance and you can't help it.
Correct. Correct. Because there are always people in this world who want you to be alive. I don't think people, no matter how bad things are, your life is more valuable alive than you are not here with us. And no matter how bad it looks in terms of a bleak outlook in life, no matter how bad it looks, there's always the sun rises the next day and something always happens where maybe sometimes it gets a little better. Life's a roller coaster. I say that all the time. There's ups, there's downs, and everything else. And by the way, later in the show, I'm going to be speaking with Bertha Loaiza. She's a mental health awareness and suicide prevention advocate based in San Diego, and she's known as the Miracle Girl. And when you hear her story, you're going to find out why, in fact, she is called the Miracle Girl. So stay tuned. It's a really interesting conversation. In the meantime, we talked yesterday, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, about Trump response to the coronavirus when it first came out. He knew it was deadly. He knew it was airborne. He knew it affected old people. He knew it affected young people. He knew that people who are not socially distancing will get sick and die. He knew that people, if you wore masks, if you stayed away from people, you would have a much better chance of living. Yet he went on to the American people and lied to the American people and said, it's just a cold, it's a little cough, whatever the words he used, nothing to worry about, and it'll go away like magic. And he knew it wasn't going to go away. We talked about this all yesterday. So he went on Hannity, of course, because Hannity is his buddy, throws him some softballs, to explain to the American people why he did what he did. And this is what he said. He said, I'm the leader of the country. I can't be jumping up and down and scaring people. I don't want to scare people. I want people not to panic, and that's exactly what I did. More than a month later, on March 19th now, Trump admitted to Woodward throughout the entire month of February and March that I still like playing it down because I don't want to create panic. And he's admitting it. He's admitting it. And now he says Woodward gave him a hit job. Now, Woodward is one of the most famous newspaper investigative reporters in the United States. He uncovered Watergate. He is, by all accounts, extraordinarily ethical and honorable. So I would hardly doubt that it was a hit job. Nancy Pelosi responded, and then I'll give you my response, and then I'll let you guys comment what you think. And I wonder what the squad thinks. You know, I'm curious what the squad thinks. Nancy Pelosi, she said, you know, the way to avoid panic is to show leadership, to say, this is what the challenge is. We're going to use the best scientific evidence that is available to us to contain it. We are going to make sure that we can stop the spread of it. That is what stops a panic, not ignoring it. Now, my opinion, that, you know, he lied to us. And he sabotaged every effort that we could have done in February and March to contain coronavirus. Yep. Almost certainly leading to thousands, tens of thousands of deaths. And it was all caused because we have a sociopath as a leader. Now, on September 9th, Canada was honest with their population. They socially distanced. They closed down more. They insisted on wearing masks at a much earlier time. They were telling Canadians, wear masks, it saves lives. On September 9th, yesterday, okay, Canada's just north of the United States. Now, granted, Canada doesn't have the same population as the United States, but basically the same North America. There was 1,176 coronavirus deaths in the United States yesterday. Guess how many deaths there were in Canada? 2.
Wow.
2. Because Canada and the Canadian leadership was honest with their population. So I ask you, Yo-Yo, and you asked this to me yesterday, and I'm going to ask you back your same question in another way. Mm-hmm. When someone's actions lead to the death of another, okay, whether it's intentional, negligent, manslaughter, we evaluate that person's intent under the law. When somebody gets arrested because somebody got killed, we say, what was in that man's mind or that woman's mind? Did that man or woman intentionally kill somebody? Did they negligently kill somebody? Because we hear, negligent homicide, manslaughter, which is basically reckless indifference to the life. You didn't intentionally try to kill somebody, but you were so reckless that you didn't care if somebody lived or died. It's like somebody just kind of like robbing a bank and coming out and shooting a gun around to say, get out of my way. Wasn't really pointing at anybody, but knew people were going to die. We evaluate that in our court system. What was that person's intent? What was the state of mind? And we do that in order to assign blame. Did you kill somebody? Was it intentional murder, manslaughter, negligent homicide? Now, when President Trump's actions admittedly lead to the deaths of thousands and thousands of people that could have been prevented, and we see the difference between Canada and the United States, should we be doing the same thing?
So what would the benefit be of, if that was his intent to kill off all of those?
Well, I'll tell you what it was. He was coming up on an election year. And what Donald Trump wants more than anything else is a booming economy. He's a businessman. He decides for 4 years, he determined his worth as a president of the United States of America based on how the stock market did. Stock market's up, I'm a great president. Stock market's down, I'm not so great. He based his worth on unemployment. He brags he's the best president for the African American population in the United States because just happens that the African American unemployment rate was low while he was president. He doesn't say that, by the way. It started going down as a trend when Obama, and he took over the trend that Obama started. He doesn't do that. And obviously, there's a lot more to whether somebody has a job or not, whether you're, the best friend to the African American community. But that's what he valued. Okay? And if he told people the truth in February and March, people wouldn't have been going on cruises. People wouldn't have been going to restaurants. People would not have been congregating at clubs and bars. And he felt that if he was able to lie to the American people, the economy would continue. But what we have learned, Yonathan, Yo-Yo, Elias, and Vanessa, you can lie to yourself. You can, and by the way, everyone says, is he a sociopath? Because I called him a sociopath, and maybe he's not a sociopath, because a sociopath is somebody who believes their own lies. He knew he was lying. He says, yes, I admit it. I knew everyone was going to die. So he's really not a sociopath. He's really just a liar. Because he knew people were going to die. But the point I'm trying to make is that you can lie to yourself. You can lie to the American public. You can lie to Vice President Pence. You can lie to Congress. One thing you cannot lie to, you can't lie to Mother Nature. Mother Nature doesn't fall for political rhetoric. Mother Nature does not listen to Donald Trump. Okay? Mother Nature is going to do what Mother Nature is going to do no matter what Donald Trump said. And that's why he is going to go down as the world's worst president ever in the United States of America. Besides the fact of Charlottesville, racial tensions, and everything else, what it really comes down to is you can't lie to Mother Nature.
Nope.
And you want to know why? And if you don't say, okay, coronavirus, go look at the fires in California right now. We keep pumping gas out. We keep raising the temperatures of the earth where we live. Mother Nature's going to do what Mother Nature's going to do. You don't lie to Mother Nature. So he was stupid. Because had he done what he was supposed to do, our economy would be better today. And there would be more people employed today.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So you ask why he did it. He did it to save the economy, but you can't fool Mother Nature. Isn't that a commercial? You can't fool Mother Nature, or that was a television show or a movie. I just know that line. You can't fool Mother Nature. I don't know where I got that from. Right?
Withholding information from the public, like that's just crazy. And this is the person that we're supposed to trust on all aspects, for our safety, to support our troops, like moving forward. And people really consider re-electing this person. Noted.
Now, that's not, by the way, the only things that were uncovered in this book by Woodward called Rage. He also provided a window into Trump's thought about his dealings with Kim Jong-un in North Carolina, as well as his dealings with the Black American community here in the United States of America. Let's talk quickly about Kim Jong-un. Trump and North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, they had a love affair with each other. Trump described letters that he received from Kim Jong-un as, quote, love letters. And Woodward writes they show a diplomatic courtship that moved Trump from taunting Kim as Little Rocket Man. Remember that? We thought we were going to have a nuclear war, and threatening fire and fury, to become the first sitting U.S. president to meet with the North Korean leader. In his letter to Trump, Kim addresses him as Your Excellency and punctuates them with very flowery prose. Kim wrote to Trump on December 25th, 2018, following their first meeting, "Even now I cannot forget that moment of history when I firmly held Your Excellency's hand at the beautiful and sacred location as the whole world watched with great interest and hoped to relive the honor of that day." Now, everybody told Trump, don't meet with him because you're giving Kim legitimacy, Kim Jong-un legitimacy. Trump says, well, what do I have to lose to meet with him? It's just a meeting. That's basically really what it came down to. And, Woodward writes, we don't even know if Kim Jong-un even wrote those letters. Maybe it was somebody, one of his assistants who was better at writing than Kim Jong-un. He believes Trump was actually, if you read Woodward's book, he believes Trump was, what do they call it? When you see a person online and it's not catfished by one of Kim Jong-un's staff members. And Trump thinks he's having this whole writing love affair with Kim Jong-un, and he's getting catfished by Kim Jong-un. Yeah. So meanwhile, Yonathan and Vanessa left us for a little bit. Maybe Trump didn't like me talking about his book so much. The other thing that Donald Trump, that was talked about in Woodward's book, he revealed that Trump shrugged off any responsibility to better understand how black Americans feel. Woodward suggested that people like him and Trump, who embody white privilege, should work to understand black people's pain and anger. He told Trump, Woodward asked Trump, he said, listen, we share one thing in common. We're white and we're privileged. And he asked Trump if he felt an obligation to understand the anger and pain that black Americans feel living here in the United States. And Trump seemed to mock Woodward, and he flatly disregarded that sentiment, saying, no, you really drank the Kool-Aid, didn't you? Just listen to you. Wow, no, I don't feel that at all. Now, in the June interview, these interviews happened over several months, and in the June interview, Woodward painted out the severe inequities black people face due to decades of discrimination, but Trump says he didn't get it. And that's the president, unfortunately, that we have. Now, according to statistics from the Johns Hopkins University, there are now over 27.9 million coronavirus cases worldwide. More than 905,000 people have died. More than 18.8 million people have recovered. In the United States, more than 6.3 million people have been diagnosed with coronavirus. CNN reports that colleges in all 50 states have reported coronavirus cases. More than 2,000 students and faculty at the University of Tennessee are now under quarantine. A new U.S. report warns that climate change is going to create economic chaos. The federal report released today is the first of its kind by a U.S. government entity. It calls for Congress to swiftly impose a carbon tax and urges financial regulators to more urgently and decisively work to understand and blunt the economic impact of climate change. We see that right now, what's going on in California. There's over 40 large fires that are ravaging Oregon, California, Washington. Have you seen the pictures from space? I don't know if we have any. Have you seen the pictures of what's going on in San Francisco? Red sky, it looks like hell on earth. Oregon has experienced historic wildfires almost every year in Governor Brown's time in office. He's the current governor of Oregon, but she said this year's fires are unprecedented and a once-in-a-generation event. I don't think it's a once-in-a-generation event. I think it's going to happen more and more and more, these wildfires. And what I don't understand with all of these wildfires, we have the ability in the United States of America to make buildings that are fire resistant. We have the ability to clear brush near fires. A lot of people live in the woods. We have the ability to make wildfires like this less lethal, both in human life and in damage to property. And we're not doing it. And every year we watch what goes on, and yet we're building with wood. Why are we building with wood in areas that go up in flames every year? It makes no sense to me. Just my 2 cents on it. I'm not a fire prevention expert. Hello, Yo-Yo and Vanessa. Welcome back. I don't hear you, but welcome back. But it's good to see your faces. I'm glad you're alive and well. I don't hear you, but I see you're alive and well, which is the most important thing. Okay? That you're alive, you're well, you're doing well. That's right. I don't hear you, but I'll just keep talking. Who needs co-hosts anyway? I need co-hosts. That's what I need. Oh, you love me. Oh, that's so sweet, Yo-Yo. That's so sweet. Oh, my heart. All right. In another 2020 plot twist, America is now experiencing a great coin shortage. Coins aren't making their way through the economy, with the repercussions rippling from the upper echelons of the federal government. With more people staying home, buying less, and shifting their spending online, the natural flow of pocket change through banks, restaurants, and retail stores has basically dried up. Although the U.S. Mint says there is not a coin shortage or supply problem, the Mint says it's a circulation bottleneck. People aren't going out and spending their cash and getting change back. So there's now a new coin task force, complete with its own hashtag, Get Coin Moving. A Chick-fil-A in South Carolina mall is inviting people to bring in their rolled coins in exchange for cash at a free chicken sandwich. Casinos are trying to tempt would-be gamblers to empty jiggling pockets in exchange for free slot play. I know everybody's got a jar of coins back home. Go bring those coins to Chick-fil-A and get your free chicken. Now, for its part, the U.S. Mint is actually on track to produce more coins this year than it is almost in 2 decades. But you can imagine everyone's staying home. But there's the coin shortage because everybody is staying home. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Meanwhile, it is Wacky News Thursday. Yo-Yo and Vanessa, I still don't hear you, but you could laugh. Damn it. You could laugh at all the wacky news. There we are. There we are. Wacky World News Thursday. All the wacky news from around the world. Now, an 80-year-old who went missing while hiking in northeast England had an emotional reunion with his family when he turned up as police were making a public appeal to find out where this guy was. He showed up to his own press conference about his own disappearance. Harry Harvey, you can't make this up, was reported missing around 1:30 p.m. on Sunday after he was separated from his walking partner the day before while hiking in the Yorkshire Dales during bad weather. A major search involving police, the Royal Air Force, the whole country was looking for this guy. Police had said that Harvey was an experienced walker, but they were extremely concerned for his welfare due to the length of his disappearance. Now, on Tuesday morning, a wildlife photographer saw Harvey waving at her near the village Keld, which is roughly 6 miles from his last known location. His family was set to hold a police media appeal later in the Tan Hill Inn at that same town. As the meeting was about to start, and as they were saying, "Have you seen this man?" he shows up at his own press conference and says, "I'm here." In an interview after his arrival, Harvey, with a bandage across his forehead, said that he'd been caught in a heavy hailstorm and gale winds when he was separated, but I guess all's well that ended well. Meanwhile, a Chinese martial artist, he uses nunchucks to light 21 candles in 1 minute. Wow. This guy in 60 seconds. Now that is a speed round. In 60 seconds, this guy lights 21 candles using the nunchuck. I can barely answer 9 immigration questions in the same period of time. Chinese martial artist broke a Guinness Book of World Records when he used his nunchucks to light 21 matches in 1 minute. I don't know how he does it. Do we have a video of that? Shanghai martial artist Ji Dezhang, 28, who previously broke Guinness records for using his nunchucks to extinguish candles and unscrew bottle caps, made it into the record book for a 3rd time by using the weapon to light 21 matches in 60 seconds. Do we have a video? How does he light the Oh, I guess from the no, that's him extinguishing the candles. What about lighting the candles? Do we have lighting the candles? No. You know why we don't? Because it's Wacky Thursday. You know what? We just got to get to immigration. Let's do what we do best, and we'll get to immigration and something we like to call, you got an immigration question, I've got your answers. All right, let's go to Yvonne in New York. Yvonne, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Brad. And you?
Good, good. What's going on?
I am calling because I wanted us to know, what is a re-entry permit?
Re-entry permit is a permit. Well, basically, let me give you the background of a re-entry permit. It allows you to re-enter the United States, obviously. It's self-explanatory. But why do you need a re-entry permit? Because the law says if you have lawful permanent residence and you're not living lawfully as a permanent resident in the United States, you're not allowed back in America. So, for example, what is lawful permanent residence is you have to be in the U.S. more often than not. You have to be in the U.S. for at least 6 months every year. You know, everybody says, you know, they don't question you if, you know, you can stay out for up to 6 months and then they come back and they don't question you. Yes, that's correct. But if you're going to come for a week every 6 months, eventually you're going to be stopped from coming in the United States of America because they're going to say you're living permanently somewhere else. You're not permanently living in America. So what a re-entry permit is, it's done on the form I-131, and it's done while you're here before you leave the U.S. You say, I am going to temporarily leave the United States for a period more than 6 months. And for a temporary period of time, I am going to be living permanently somewhere else. But I intend to return to be a lawful permanent resident within the next 3 years, and let me tell you why. I'm going home to take care of Mama. I have a temporary contractual job. I'm going to a college, but I'm going to be back in 3 years. So don't take my green card away. And that's basically what it is. So if you're going to be out of the country for 1, 2, 3 years, but you know you're going to come back and you don't want to give up your green card, you do the re-entry permit.
So if the person had stayed over there for 10 months and just came back, they have to do a re-entry?
If they're going to go back for another 10 months, yes. If
less than the 10 months?
If they're going to just be staying here, then not a problem. The concern is that you're going to go, you stayed for 10 months, you got back in, so they gave you back your lawful residence. Mm-hmm. You go back for 6 months.
Yes.
Maybe when you come back to the U.S., maybe they let you in, maybe they don't. I don't know. They're going to say, you know what? You were out for 10 months, you came in for 2 weeks, and now you're out for 6 months. So in the last 16 months, you were in the United States for 2 weeks. They're going to give you a problem. Yeah, you would do a re-entry permit. If it's a situation where I'm here for 10 months, and I was out for 10 months, I'm back, and now I'm here for 6 months, and then I go home for 2 weeks and come back, no, you don't need a re-entry permit, you're fine. So it depends what your situation is.
Okay.
All right?
All right, thank you so much.
But it's done while you're here before you leave.
Yeah, and how long does that take to do?
Well, you have to wait here long enough just to take a fingerprint, which is a few weeks. Hopefully they call you within a few weeks. I don't know what's going on now with coronavirus, but they should fingerprint you within a few weeks. And then you can go, and then once you fingerprint, you can go, and then they'll mail you the re-entry permit from in whatever country you're in.
Okay, thank you so much, Brad.
All right, my pleasure.
Goodbye.
All right, let's go to Junior in Cincinnati, Ohio. Junior.
Oh, hello.
Hi,
hello.
How are you?
I'm doing fine.
What's going on?
I have a question. I'm 23, and I want my dad to sponsor me. Is that possible? I'm still in the U.S. I overstayed my visa.
Absolutely.
Is that possible?
He's going to file a visa petition. You're going to be on a waiting list for a bit of time. And at the end of that waiting list, whether it's 5 years or 6 years or whatever it may be, you're going to have to do a provisional waiver, go home, and come back. But yes, there is a plausible way, but it's going to be a while.
So I have to go back, right?
Not at the moment. But yes, you would have to ultimately get a green card appointment in your home country. But if you've overstayed your time, you're going to need to do a provisional waiver before you leave. You just can't leave because then you'll have a 10-year bar.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right, let's go to Ilona in Madison, New Jersey. Ilona.
Hi, Brad. How
are you?
Good, thank you. I was going to ask you, I did file my taxes before July 15th, but IRS rejected. And I asked my accountant, but she said she doesn't know the reason. And then I called IRS, and they told me that my taxes are duplicated. So now they're going to investigate me for 14 months because my accountant did a mistake. She filed wrong. So I just want to know, can this affect my immigration status?
Well, what is your immigration status?
Right now I'm waiting for my reference for evidence.
Okay, so you filed an adjustment. Unless you're arrested for a crime, it's not going to affect your immigration status at all. So unless you did something criminal, which it doesn't sound like you did, it just sounds like somebody made a mistake on your taxes. I don't see that as an issue.
Yeah, but this is my first time filing taxes because I didn't work before. So that's my concern.
Well, what I would suggest I'm not a tax expert, but what I would suggest you do is go speak to a second accountant. But as far as immigration is concerned, if you filed your taxes incorrectly or you filed duplicate taxes or there's 2 separate tax returns filed under, whatever it is, as long as ultimately it's just resolved with the IRS and they don't, call in the federal, the feds to arrest you because you committed some sort of crime. I never heard of a crime of paying taxes twice. Okay, the government should be thanking you, not investigating you. You paid taxes twice. Thank you.
No.
But I don't know what it is that the accountant did. But in all honesty,
Okay, I wasn't clear. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: I got stimulus check, and
you got a what?
Yes, my stimulus check. When I got it, so I did non-filer. So right now in my status, it's showing only non-filer. It doesn't show that I paid taxes or anything, because my accountant, she made a mistake. She's supposed to check that box on the top. That's what IRS told me.
I think whatever mistake is made by an accountant is fixable. Again, I'm not a tax expert, but I would hold on one second. Let's get you to a tax expert and fix it before you freak out for no reason and screw up your immigration case for no reason. All right, so hold on one second. All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, let's go to Destiny in Lebanon, New Hampshire. Destiny. Hi, Destiny.
Hi.
Hi, how are
Uncle
you?
Brad, good
how you
evening.
doing? How you doing?
I'm doing very good.
What's going on?
Get to speak with you again. Oh my.
What's going on?
Yeah. So, just a quick question for you. I am a permanent resident, and I want to ask: can I file a petition for my sibling?
Can you file No, you cannot. You have to be a citizen to file for your siblings.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. By the way, it's one of those weird, wacky Thursdays. We have a whole bunch of open lines, so if you do want to call, I will be able to get your immigration questions answered. 1-800-529-5465. Somewhere is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson recovering from coronavirus with my head and a sign on it. Hopefully we can bring that across a few times. Let's go to Marciela in Fort Worth, Texas. Marciela.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I am a U.S. citizen petitioned for my husband. We got the approval letter. It says section husband or wife of a U.S. citizen 201B INA. Does that mean he's exempt from the public charge ground?
Why would he be exempt? He's filing for who?
I am filing for him. I petitioned him.
This is your husband?
Yes.
Why would you think he's exempt from public charge?
I was just reading the instructions. And
he's not. He is not exempt. You're a U.S. citizen, spouse filing. You need to do an affidavit of support and show that you can support him above the poverty level.
Okay, perfect. On the 864, when I am filling it out, so we filed our taxes together. So for my income, do I put down there whatever we made both of us?
It would be your income.
Okay, got it. Perfect.
Right.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go to Olivia in Long Island. Olivia.
Hi, good evening, Brad.
Hi,
how are you?
Good.
Hi, I have a question. My boyfriend came to visit from Jamaica about a month ago, and we have decided to get married. I'm just wondering what are the steps we could take for him to become a permanent resident?
Well, at this moment, he came a month ago?
Yeah.
Okay, you're a resident or a citizen?
I'm a citizen.
Okay. All right. The first thing to do is nothing today. Don't do any steps today. After 90 days of him physically being here, not 89, not 88, after 90, then you can discuss getting married and marrying him. If you marry him within the first 90 days of his entry, that's a fraud on his part because he came as a visitor, you got married, and then ultimately applied for a green card. They're going to say he came for the purposes of getting married, which you can't do as a visitor. So you've got to wait 90 days. After 90 days, you get married. That's the first step you do. Then you file an adjustment application. That's step 2.
Okay.
And if you need help, hold on. Let's go to Julius in Maryland. Julius.
Hi.
Hi, Julius.
Good day.
Good day.
Yeah. I want to ask a question. Is it necessary to file immediately after getting married, or you have to wait like few months?
Well, I'm of, everybody can differ. Legally, you can file the next day. I'm of the opinion, file the next day. What the hell are you waiting for? You're not outsmarting the government by saying, oh, I really, I'm going to wait a few months and then they won't think I'm just getting married to get a green card. They all know you got married and you need a green card. So whether you wait 6 months or you file the next day, it's not like you're changing anybody's mind. You got to prove you and your wife live together and you have a financial relationship. And if you do, whether you file the day after you get married, 6 months after you get married, it doesn't matter. Go file. So my opinion is file. Get your benefits.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go to Jermaine in New York. Jermaine.
Hello, Brad.
Hi, Jermaine. How are you?
I'm fine. I was just working on my I-485, and I was stuck on one question. It asks, have you ever been the defendant or the accused in a criminal proceeding included pretrial diversion, deferred prosecution, deferred adjudication, or any withheld adjudication? Do you know what that means?
Yes. It means that were you ever, if you were arrested, say, for example, pretrial intervention means you were found ultimately innocent as long as you did some sort of program. So all of those were some sort of diversion, basically diversion program, pretrial intervention, or the DA dropped the charges. But if any charging document you ever arrested, you put handcuffs on, and you got this, and you went to see a judge, they want to know about it.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Let's go to Stephanie in Houston. Stephanie.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, Uncle Brad. Yeah, this is Stephanie. I'm calling. I have a question. How long, if somebody wants to file a VAWA case, like if the abuse happened, like 4 years, is it okay to still go ahead and file the VAWA?
You can always file a VAWA as long as you're either married to the man or divorced for less than 2 years.
No, we're still married, but
okay. So the answer is yes. You can file your VAWA. The longer it takes for you to file the VAWA, just evidence disappears. It's harder to prove. But yeah, the answer is yes. You can file. There's the only statute of limitations has to be done within 2 years of a divorce.
Okay, but we're still married. We're not divorced yet, but we are still going through.
The answer is yes. You can file the VAWA. So hold on if you need help.
Oh.
All right. Let's go to Sam in Sacramento. Sam.
Hi, Mr. Brad. Good afternoon.
How you doing?
My name is Sam. Actually, sorry. Yeah, I'm calling. Actually, want to ask her a couple of questions. The number one is I want to know, is it possible for someone with a 10 years green card to file for a fiancé visa?
No, you have to be a citizen.
Okay, you have to be a citizen. Okay. Another one is I just put in my removal of condition for my 10 years green card, and I want to know how long is it going to take to. I haven't gotten their extension yet. I just put in like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the extension should come in about 4 to 6 weeks from the time you file, but then to actually go through the whole process, immigration's taking like 2 years now.
2 years now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Brad. You're doing a great job.
Hang in there.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Samir in Queens. Samir.
Hello, Bert. How are you? Good. Okay, I have two questions. The first one is, like I always see your show, you saying if you marry a U.S. citizen and your marriage is still continue valid until 2 years and 9 months, the person can apply their citizenship.
2 years, 9 months, 3 days.
3 months, 9 months, 3 years, 9 months, 3 days, yes. Correct. And if the couple, they get separated or get divorced, still he can able or she can able to do it, but they have to do another 2 years, right?
You would have to wait 4 years, 9 months, and 3 days.
Even if it's divorced, okay. Right. Not the whole complete 5 years.
4 years, 9 months, 3 days.
3 days, okay. The second question is that I used to live in a different state. I moved to New York now,
Right.
and because of the divorce and everything. And do you think anything they're gonna have a problem or anything that why I live here or whenever I move here, I can still apply citizenship here, right?
Yes,
in New
yes,
York?
you're allowed to live anywhere you want. You're asking me, will you have a problem? I don't have the slightest idea. All I know is you have a green card and you got divorced. That's all I know.
Yes,
so,
I have a permanent green card.
I
yes.
know. So you're asking me, will you have a problem? I mean, no. The fact that you're allowed to move wherever you want, and you're certainly allowed to not be in a happy marriage and get a divorce. The only thing you got to prove, whether you're doing it 4 years, 9 months, and 3 days, or whatever it is, there was no fraud.
Okay, already.
All right.
Thank you much, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Brad.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's go to Daniela in Montgomery. Daniela.
Hi.
Hi, Daniela.
I'm good, Uncle Brad.
What's going on?
My cousin overstayed for like 2 years.
Right.
And now she called me she said the census people knocked at her door and she's scared of answering them. I told her it's okay to answer them.
Census?
Census.
That's
Yes.
fine. It's fine. Census people are not immigration.
What?
Census people are not immigration. It's fine.
Okay, so you don't think they share information
No.
to immigration?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Let's see what we got here. In today's Braducation, I answer the question, if my adjustment of status is pending, can I leave the country? If your adjustment of status application is pending and you leave the United States, you have abandoned your adjustment of status application. Your application will then be denied. You will not be allowed back into the United States. The only way you can leave the United States while you have a pending adjustment of status application is with an advance parole, pre-approved travel document that you obtain prior to getting on an airplane or a boat or in a car to drive across the border. If you have the advance parole document and you have a pending adjustment of status application, you are free to go, but only go for a very short period of time. All right, let's do something we like to call social media check-in. All right, we're doing this old school. Let me go through here my phone. Let's see the questions we have here. Moya Douglas with a question. How long after submitting all supporting documents to the National Visa Center will it take to get an interview in Jamaica? I'm an IR2 filing. Well, pre-corona, it was about 4, 5, 6 months. Hopefully, it's the same. Well, if you've completed it, they're going to transfer it to Jamaica, maybe less, 4 months, 3, 4 months. Let's see what else we have here. I'm going through. What other immigration questions? Immigration questions. Everybody's saying squat up, squat up, squat up. And immigration questions. And people are answering Moya Douglas. Very good. All right. Willie Ch. CH. Willie Ch. What happens if I forgot to file for I-465? It's a 485. Along with my VAWA and adjustment of status back in December 2018, and I just filed 3 weeks ago, my 465 to 485. You're gonna file, you're gonna get your work permit, and hopefully you'll get your green card in 2 years. You don't have to file the adjustment with the VAWA. You just delayed your case, so that's what happened. That's all. What else is here? What else we got? But hopefully you filed a 485. There is no 465. Any other questions? Questions. And the questions are Mukhtar Durrami. My cousin filed a motion of appeal for a denied I-45. I guess it would be a motion to reopen. There is no appeal of a denied I-45. Your cousin would have filed a motion to reopen after an approved VAWA, but have not received any reply whatsoever, not even a receipt number. How does he know the status of it? Hopefully, he paid a filing fee and they cashed the filing fee. But quite frankly, motions to reopen take forever. I think what needs to happen is your cousin needs to come see me or see a good lawyer, figure out why was this denied, refile a new I-485, and make sure you fix the problem. I don't like motions to reopen. Yvonne Dawson, what is the reentry permit if the person stays 10 months overseas? Will they need one? Yes. And I think I spoke to her on the phone as well. Let's see what else we have here. Wish we had some background music while I'm looking for this. It's okay. We don't need any background music. And let's see what all right. And let's see what else we have here. Dip Fab Cake Affairs. Does USCIS still accept sponsorship? I mean, affidavit of support for anybody filing an application for his family due to the petitioner not making enough money? Absolutely. Every petitioner has to file an I-864, and if the I-864 is not, you don't have a sufficient income, then you can get a second affidavit of support. Absolutely, you can. Let's see what else we have here. Sam Barg with a question. The I-45 was withdrawn in 2009, but I never left the country, divorced, and now I'm married to someone else. Can we reapply? Absolutely. You're allowed to fall in love, fall out of love, and fall back in love again. I say that all the time. Why not? Let's look at YouTube and see what the questions are here. Najaz Danashar, my dad will be a citizen in 2 years. He's going to petition for my widow's sister and his 3 kids. Oh, I answered that question at the beginning of the show. Blaze MB, hi, Uncle Brad. I submitted my adjustment of status since March, but I received an RFE on the I-45 for a final decision and responded to it, but my I-765 is still pending without no approval yet. What can I expect, please? Well, until you responded to the RFE, they're not processing your work permit. So you could expect to get a work permit 6 months from the time that you responded to the RFE. Guy Boyish with a question. What happens if I filed my VIWA and adjustment of status back in December 2018 but forgot to file my EAD and just filed it 3 weeks ago? Will it put me back in line for my EAD? Absolutely. You're going to wait 6 months for your EAD. Shayna Barrett. My husband lives in public housing. However, he gets SSDI as well as a pension, which is above the poverty guidelines. Also money in the bank. Do we still need a co-sponsor? I don't know how much money he earns on his income every year. I would need to look. And also public housing could be a problem, but in New York, Connecticut, and Vermont may be less of a problem because they're using the old laws. Olawisi Aglaboji. I travel frequently while I had my green card. I did for 6 months, and in 6 months out, I filed my N-400. Will this affect me? I meet all the requirements and met the 2.5-year requirements. As long as you are 30 out of 60 months in America, no trip more than 6 months out of the country, and you're physically in the state where you filed for 90 days before filing, you're good to go. Miss Sunshine, I pray on November 3rd, America does the right thing. We all do. I would pray with you. Ginger Juice, hey team. I'm 26, I'm married, I'm doing my papers. I fell out with my dad over the same, and I don't want him to punish my siblings for my mistakes. Does immigration have to contact him? And if so, what case? Why would immigration contact your dad unless he's your sponsor? There would be no reason to contact him. Naja Danashar, if he's your sponsor, then you need his signature, you need his help. Naja Danashar, hi, my dad will be a citizen in 2 years. He's going to petition for my widow's sister. I answered that question. Manruljo Ajam, USCIS family-based adjustment of status work permit has showed processing times of 28.5 months to 37.5 months now. Do you think the EAD would really take that long for such a glitch in the USCIS website? There's no way EADs are taking 37.5 months. It's either a glitch in the website or you're reading it wrong. Binta C, what's the latest on VAWA? They're processing them, just taking a long time. Altude Thomas, I au paired abroad for a total of 7 months, but I returned to the U.S. for 10 days during that time to split my trip. I recently filed for my N-400. Will that affect me? As long as you have 30 out of 60 months in America, no trip more than 6 months, and 90 days in the U.S., you're okay. So just follow those rules. Stacy Dahl, would you recommend paying the visa fee now, although you don't plan on migrating for a few months? Yes. Yara Edwards, do it now while the going's good. Yara Edwards, I submitted my RFE. How long do you think it will take until I get a fingerprint appointment? It's a marriage petition. Sounds like you filed an adjustment. They RFE'd you, and now they accepted your case. Figure 3-4 months from the time they accepted your RFE. D. Daly, when doing adjustments, what paper should I file? The I-485, the I-130, the I-130A if it's based on marriage, I-864, I-944. Unless you're in New York, Vermont, and Connecticut, then you don't do the I-944, the I-765 for the work permit, the I-131 for advanced parole. And if you heard that way too fast, you could always on YouTube rewind and take it down. All right. Moving on. In today's Spar Bernstein Close-Up, immigration attorney and partner Shannon LaGuerre-Maingrette gives advice on how to navigate your immigration case during the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's watch.
You need to speak to your attorney. You need to ask them, what is the strategy? How do we move forward? Will I still be able to either keep my green card, get a green card? And so these are things that you need to sit down with your attorney and talk about. You also have to be patient. This is not normal because this is a whole pandemic that's affected the entire United States. And the judges' unions, the government attorneys' unions have been fighting really hard. They are trying to find a way to keep everyone protected. And so we need to be understanding of that too, but also understanding how do we move forward from this? Will I be protected? Make sure you keep in contact with your attorney, because if somehow you're depending on a qualifying relative where that person's going to age out, then you need to speak to the attorney. What can we do? Because I need to make sure that I'm able to get this green card or this level of relief. So very important to speak to your attorney during this time.
All right, and answering 29 Super C's question on YouTube, where is Yonathan and Vanessa Contreras today? They are here. We just can't seem to get them on the wire here. There's a wire that goes from this studio to apartment A and goes across the river to New Jersey. Somebody cut the wire. But we know they're alive. We know they're well. And they'll be back tomorrow. I promise you. In the meantime, today is World Suicide Prevention Awareness Day. I had spoken to Bertha Loaiza. She's a mental health awareness and suicide prevention advocate who works with survivors of suicide loss in San Diego and runs the only bilingual program for suicide survivors in the area. Bertha is known as the Miracle Girl. What she has survived and the work she does is truly miraculous. Let's check it out. Bertha Loaiza is a first-generation Mexican-American who works towards mental health awareness and suicide prevention. Bertha is known as the Miracle Girl. Her own personal journey of survival and resilience is what has guided her in her mission, and she joins me to share her story and discuss her important work. Welcome, Bertha, and thank you for coming on Bradshaw Live.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So you were raised by your maternal grandparents since you were a toddler. Can you tell me what you knew about your mom growing up?
Yes, my mother, along with her siblings and my grandparents, immigrated from Mexico. So I was raised by my maternal grandparents, and as I realized that there was one person missing, you know, my mother, they spoke of her. They spoke of an accident that we were both in. She lost her life, I didn't, and everything seemed well, so I didn't have any reason to question, you know. Well, I understood at some point that that's the circle of life. People pass away sometimes. There's terrible accidents, but I was lucky to be surrounded by a lot of love and a lot of people. So I just went on.
But you discovered that that was not necessarily the case. It was not an accident, that your mom actually committed suicide. How did you find that out?
Yeah, I found out that my mom died by suicide at the age of 17. And it was a recording of a newscast that was doing a follow-up story on my recovery. when I watched the VHS of the news recording, I learned that my mother, at the age of 23, was holding me in her arms as she went over one of our local bridges here, which is over 200 feet.
Did you know that you were injured as a result of your mom committed suicide, or you were a baby and you had no recollection that you even had an injury?
I did. I suffered many injuries, many permanent injuries from that when my mom died by suicide. I mean, I went to a lot of doctor's appointments and, I had all these eyeglasses and patches and scars that were explained by my mother and I being in an accident where she lost her life and I didn't.
She jumped off the bridge with you in her arms as a 3-year-old. How did you survive?
Brad, that is a $1 million question. Ultimately, I believe she did save me because she did take most of the hit when we hit the water, but I believe I was saved. My life was spared because to be able to do wonderful work in the community with people like yourself.
What were your injuries at the time? I assume you still have no recollection to this day, correct?
No, I don't remember that day. I remember being in the hospital, recovery, and years of follow-up appointments with doctors. I had trauma. I had cataract trauma to my right eye, so I lost most of my vision in my right eye, collapsed lungs, shattered pelvic and hip that I have surgically corrected now. I had a total hip replacement 3 years ago. So I was living with that pain, with that, bone pain in the last few years.
Now, you're called the Miracle Girl because you are the first person ever to go over this particular 246-foot bridge and live.
I was up until that point.
What is the name of the bridge?
It's the San Diego Coronado Bay Bridge. It goes over the San Diego Bay, so it links the city of San Diego to Coronado Island.
And you find this VHS. Were you angry with your grandparents? You say, how did you keep this from me?
Honestly, I've never been angry about the way I found out. I watched it probably 200 times over and over and over, initially thinking it was some sort of an audio problem, where the video is going, but the audio didn't match. So I thought the story didn't match because that wasn't the story that I knew. So after, a bunch of times watching it, and I realized that was what really happened because it was being televised in our local news. I felt everything. I think I was sad because I felt more of a disconnect with my mother because I felt bad that I wasn't aware of mental illness. If there was anything I could have done at 3 years old to help her pain, I was confused because I didn't understand at that point what all mental health entailed, what suicide really was. And then how would a 3-year-old child that the mother adored, why would I be involved?
Who was the first people that you went to and said, oh my God, I found this horrible information that was kept from me, that my mother jumped off a bridge with me in her arms?
I couldn't believe it. I did approach my family and I felt bad by doing so because I knew that by me bringing it up, they were going to relive the pain of losing my mother. So I was very careful on how I did it because I didn't want to bring more pain, but I wanted to understand. So I did, slowly started telling everybody, I found the VHS of the recording. I know what really happened. You don't need to explain anything to me. Let me process it and we'll go through it, one day at a time. And my family was very supportive. They even apologized because they said, we're sorry we didn't tell you sooner. I said, no. I found out when I was supposed to find out. I'm glad. It was hard for me to accept that after all these years of knowing, seeing pictures, hearing stories of my mother and mine interaction for the 3 years that I did spend with her, I refused to believe that she tried to kill me. and or even herself. I went into, let's say, more of a detective mode than less of a depressed mode. But it was one of those things that I had to learn more about. I had to figure out why somebody would get to that point, and at random times it would hit me, and it would make me sad for my mother that she didn't have access or enough resources or just enough help to get through this.
What did you find out about your mom and her depression and what she was suffering and why she chose to take her life and tried to take your life as well?
That's the thing with suicide. We'll never have a concrete answer because it does take usually many factors through a long period of time to get to that fatal result. But my mother, I know, coming into a new country, I'm sure that didn't make it easy. Being the oldest of 4, I'm sure that didn't help. And then being a young mother, a failed young marriage, to my father. I mean, that's all hearsay and things because she's not here to explain that.
Do you today forgive your mom?
My mother is not at fault. I don't blame my mother. I know that it wasn't her. I know that it wasn't her in her right mind that chose to do any of this. I believe she held me because she loved me. I know she didn't want to hurt me. And in my heart, I do believe that there may have been some sort of moment of clarity at the end where she did guard me from most of the hit when we did fall into the water.
Now this learning this, I guess, puts you on a trajectory to what you do today. You run a program, Survivors of Suicide Loss.
Yeah, Survivors of Suicide Loss is a local nonprofit here in San Diego. We offer support services for anybody that's lost a loved one to suicide. And those services include support groups, reaching out. We have community events where up until COVID, we would interact with one another and create, little things to remember, arts and crafts, activities, go out by the bay, different things to remember our loved one's life, because we have to remember how they lived, not how they died, because suicide is a result of mental illness. We know this now in 2020.
Do you think Trump's policies and treatment of immigrants has made the process more traumatic for immigration, perhaps even increased suicide and depression amongst people? Have you seen that in your work?
Not specifically. I mean, we try not to bring politics into it specifically, but I am aware, living in San Diego, being a border town, and it's hard. It's hard when I speak to other families. It is, the stresses that families of coworkers or friends are suffering, because of new restrictions or new laws.
Are there programs available at Survivors of Suicide Loss for asylum seekers, undocumented immigrants? Are there specific programs available for people?
The wonderful thing about Survivors of Suicide Loss is that everybody is welcome. Not going to check your legal status or, any of that situation. We all are grieving the same loss, which was a loved one to suicide, and we help each other grow through that grief and remember our loved ones in a positive way.
Now, within the general Latino community and really the immigrant community as a whole, there is a lot of cultural resistance, especially for people who are not born in the United States, to go to therapy, to admit they have a problem, to recognize that they're suffering through depression. Why do you think that is?
Nobody wants to be looked at weak or crazy. Those are terms that we have for many, many years been accustomed to relate to when it comes to seeking help for mental illness. But it should not be any different than seeking help for any other medical condition.
Have you seen an uptick in depression recently?
I have. I think the factors include, everybody being locked up at home, being the quarantine rules being so strict for our own safety and health, of course.
What are some of the warning signs if, you're with a loved one or a friend or a colleague to see if somebody may be suicidal and they need help?
Some of the more common signs, if you or your loved one may be depressed or suicidal, would be feeling a sense of not being able to provide for your family, feeling worthless, thinking more about death and how maybe everybody around you would be, better off without you, which all of those are untrue. Some of the more uncommon that people may not usually relate to would be maybe overworking, or not wanting to work, prolonged periods of times of changes in their normal routine behavior would be a warning sign. Every threat should be taken seriously because it's better to be wrong and still be alive than the opposite. It is very important that if you see that in somebody else, you ask them, are you thinking of taking your life, not hurting yourself, but are you seriously thinking of taking your life? The only way that we can open up and be more honest is if our communication is honest with one another. There's no time, when we're speaking of a life, there's no time to waste. Just ask, are you thinking of taking your life?
What are the national hotline numbers somebody can call to get help right now?
If anybody needs help right now, the best number to call, if you're in imminent danger or you feel like you or somebody else is in imminent danger, call 911. For suicidal thoughts, call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255.
And if somebody wanted to follow you or find out more about your work, how would they reach out to you?
They could call our local number for resource non-emergency number, 619-482-0297, or visit our website at soslsd.org.
So Bertha, you have, by all accounts, a miracle story in the sense that you had a second opportunity at life, because you could have had life taken away from you before you even knew what life was as a 3-year-old. How do you feel about yourself today?
I am thankful to wake up every day, to be able to see a new sunrise, to be able to spend with my children. I was given life, a second chance at life, and I was able to produce life and be able to speak with people like yourself. And how could I not be thankful?
And finally, this is a show about achieving your American dream. Tell me, what is your American dream? Have you achieved it?
It really wasn't up until a couple of years ago that I realized the importance of being able to come out and sharing my story. So I found my American dream mid-30s, and but now I'm trying to continue living a good life, a healthy life, so that we can be happy. And my dream, just coming out and being able to, even if others use my story as an icebreaker for a conversation, but the fact that they're able to do that, to bring up mental illness, maybe in a private family dinner, that's all I could ask for. I just want, everybody to just live their life, and I don't want to lose any more lives to suicide or mental illness.
Bertha Loaiza, thank you. You are certainly the miracle that you're here, miracle of what you're doing to help people. You're doing wonderful work. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story. And thank you for providing this really necessary help for so many people who are suffering.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you for all that you do.
Okay, thank you. Do not delay in seeking help. If you or someone you know is suffering from depression, do not delay in seeking help. There are people who care, who have been there. They're going to listen, guide, and support you. You can call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. All right, do we have some comments of the day? Comments of the day. All right, our first comment of the day comes from Paulette Bryce Cameron. Squad up, family. Brad, Yo-Yo, Ness-quick. I love you guys. Blessings to you. Thank you very much, Paulette Bryce Cameron. Our second comment of the day comes from Lisa Bling Rose. True, Uncle Brad. Sometimes you see someone's face, but you don't see their heart. And our last comment of the day comes from Elizabeth Francis. Uncle Brad is the immigration lawyer with the plan. I agree. Once you submit your application to him, I guarantee you that you won't have another sleepless night. I also agree with that as well. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Thank you all for watching. Sorry about our technical difficulties. We gave you a good show, but tomorrow you're going to get a great show. So join us tomorrow around 6-ish, give or take. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar Bernstein Law Firm, located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAW-LINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465, and now conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465, 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465.